Good morning, it's Jeffrey Rakesh. I want to today share with you some of the sales traits I learned from a monk. Yeah, you heard it right, a monk. So this incident happened a few weeks ago in my house. Could be a Sunday evening while I was sitting in my room working something on the laptop, and my mother called me. She said, "Come, someone's here." So when I went home, there was this young man sitting in a saffron robe, and by virtue of being an Indian, the moment you see a saffron robe, we generally bow and pay respects. So I did this, and I guess the time was close to about 4 or a quarter past 4. And he started discussing with us. He started saying that you are one of the members who's been there from such a long time. You've been there for over 20 years with us, and you've been the very old members. So there is some privilege that the old members are supposed to get, and that is what our Guruji has directed us to, and that is what brings me here. I wanted to check if everything is going well by the grace of the Lord, and all those discussions were going on from the monk. So this whole thing, the general exchange of ideas, the discussions about how you should be praying, why you need to be offering food to God before you consume it, and all these things were happening. And this took about, I would say, close to 90 minutes. And yeah, I was very patiently listening to him. Without getting into the details of the religious aspects of it or what we discussed, what is interesting and what I wanted to share today with all of you is what I learned, or what are the sales traits that this guy exhibited during that discussion, which lasted for more than 3 hours. Yeah, more than 3 hours. So he started all these things. The first thing, because I told you about the saffron robe, so the first sales trait that a salesman should be executing is dress appropriately for the occasion that you are going to. In my life, though I am not a guy who would actually go by the looks of it, but eventually I've realized that it pays a lot of time and effort to make that first impression. So if a sales guy is not able to impress a client in the first impression, half of his sales is lost, right? And if you are able to impress your client in the first impression, you get the half sale done. So that reminds me, I've quite rejected many guys in my interview whom I didn't feel to be a good fit in sales. So now that is the first thing, dress according to the occasion that you are supposed to. Imagine if the same guy who was representing a very big religious institution had come with a suit, tie and all that, my mother probably wouldn't have even let him inside the house. But the saffron robe just got an entry into the house, and he could spend more than 3 hours in the house having a discussion with us. So that's the first thing. The next thing, when he was talking about all these things, the essential quality of a sales guy is to build rapport with the client. So this 1.5 hour or the 90 minutes of discussion that he was having about the temple, the achara vicharas that are being done in the temple, how these people work and all that, was in an essence building rapport with us, because we were the prospect. And I very clearly knew, being a sales guy at heart, I very clearly knew that this discussion is not a courtesy visit. I'm sure there is something to it. And then he started with this thing, saying, we are coming out with a beautiful temple which is under construction, and this is near Kanakpura Road. This is going to be the replica of a very, very famous, I would say world famous temple in Andhra Pradesh, and that god is supposed to be the richest god according to the Hindu mythology. So he said, we are coming out with an as-is replica of this temple, and only a few people who've been members for so long with us, we have thousands and millions of members, in fact. So members who've been with us at the very initial stage are the ones who get the privilege that I'm going to talk to you about today. And that is offered to, if I remember right, it is 108 devotees or members. So then he went on, and he said, what is it that these members who opt for this, who become a part of this list of 108 people are going to get? Firstly, he said, never ever in the history of any temple across the world has the names of people been kept at the feet of the Lord. So here's your first thing. Your name, including your children's name, with the Gotra, Nakshatra and all of this, will be inscribed on silver papers or silver foil sheets, whatever you want to call that. It will be inscribed on this. So it will be a book that will contain family names and members of 108 people, and this will be kept at the feet of the Lord. Every day morning when the priest is offering the prayers, he will read out all your names and offer prayers to you every day. So even if you imagine that the shelf life or the build life of a temple is going to be 1,000 years, for the next 1,000 years your name will be there at the feet of the Lord. Can you imagine how beautiful this is going to be? This is how he was giving me the story. And then he said, because you will be opting for this, you will also get a very high privilege that you can walk into the temple at any time, irrespective of whatever number of people are there, however crowded it is. You will have a special entrance from which you can walk in. Even if it is Vaikunta Ekadashi, you can just walk in directly, and anybody can get the puja done. Your great grandchildren also can get the service done. The only thing they have to do is just walk into the temple, tell the priest that this is the name of the person who was a devotee or a member or a donor, whatever you want to call by that name, and even they will get the same privileges. And by this time I could see that my mother and I, both of us in fact, were totally blown by this. It was like, wow, how beautiful it is to get offered something like this. And being a sales guy at heart, like I told you, I was waiting for the opportunity that will come up where he is going to sell something to me. And after this conversation, which lasted for like 3 hours, I was like, okay, all this is interesting. And I was waiting, when is he going to make that pitch of what is the price tag? Because as a sales guy, we always tell people, and we always say, never ever offer the price until it is asked for. So I was waiting as to when he's going to offer this price to me, and eventually came the time. He gave me a form. He said, these are the details which you will have to fill, and for this particular exclusive privilege that we are offering to only 108 people, of which you are one of them, this is going to be a lifetime offer. This is not going to happen again. This is going to be one time, because we are not going to build temples over and over and over. So now this is going to happen for you, and I guess the Lord has sent this through me to you. So here's the thing, this entire thing costs about 5 lakhs, and all the privileges that I've mentioned to you, you're going to get all of this at 5 lakhs. Beautiful. And at the end of it, from the sales guy's perspective, I was observing all these things. He was so polished. In fact, he was a IIT grad. That's what he was claiming to be, and so polished in his language, mannerisms, all of these was good. So coming back to what the sales traits are that I learned from him: 1, presentability, of course, matters a lot. 2, having a lot of patience to discuss and to talk and build rapport. The third one could be building rapport. Once you've built that rapport with the client, move to the 4th one, where you offer the product, and you offer it so beautifully that the client is sold for it and is waiting to know what is the price. And like I said, another 5th quality: never ever offer the price of a service or a product that you're offering before you are asked for. And the last closing that he did, the closing, he said, see, this is a very privilege. Very few people are going to get this. Not everybody are going to get this. So think about it and get back to me by tomorrow, day after, whenever it works for you. But do remember, whenever you come to our temple, you just give me a call and I will take you around. You will get all the privileges. Thank you so much for being our devotee, and being a donor where you've given your service to the people and all of that. And he never ever even made a follow-up. He never even appeared desperate. So that's another trait that I would like to highlight for any sales guy. Do not show your desperation. It could be a quarter end, it could be your year end, it could be a month end, and that one deal could make your life. But never show that desperation to your client, because that desperation is going to be used by the client for his or her own advantage for negotiation. And when the negotiation comes up, it's going to happen very badly, right? So never ever show that desperation of you wanting to close the sale. Always talk about the value. Remember, people buy the value, people buy the emotions. People don't buy what you're offering to sell it, neither whether it be a product or a service. People always buy the value that you're going to sell them, right? All right, so I think this is about the sales traits that I learned from the monk. Stay tuned to my videos, subscribe to my channel. You will be getting more videos about sales, rapport, and whatnot. I don't know. You will be getting a lot of videos about sales tips, how do you build rapport, how do you create that value for a client, and all of these on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with sales.